Hey guys, this is IrieStarcraft and I'm back to cast another game for you. This one is going to be a 2 versus 2 on Tyrador Keep. This will be game number 2 of the best of 5 finals from the Zeek.com 2v2 Masters Weekly Tournament of last week. That is October 12th. And I think I forgot to mention last game that this event is sponsored by Origin PC and Complexity Gaming, so I apologize if I forgot that. I'm not 100% sure. But nonetheless, there's a possibility that I will be casting this event this week, this coming Wednesday. I'm not 100% yet because the regular casters haven't decided if they're going to miss it or not. Look at the syncing up of the probes from xSixiLLuZ. This is just masterful. I believe that the losing team does get to choose the map. I'm not 100% again on that, but I'm pretty sure that is the case. As with the other Zeek.com tournaments I've done, that is the case. So it looks like Team xSix has chosen Tyrador Keep, a much more favorable map to a macro style game, as rushing can be quite difficult, especially with a cross spawn like this. And so let me give a quick introduction here of Team xSix. xSixiLLuZ is the blue Protoss player. His teammate again will be xSixMystik. The green Zerg player, their opponents will be ONEzerker, the purple Zerg, and ppgBubbles, the teal Terran. Last game, a very well executed proxy racks, bunker rush from Bubbles with the 10 pool support from Zerker. Very well done there. And I'm telling you guys, because I was starting to talk about it a little bit, but it's just not worth it to me anymore. Players are too smart, and people rush way too often to start building everything you have at the front on Protoss. On a map like Scortaven, this is a little bit different situation because of the map Tyrador Keep. A little bit different. But even so, I mean, it is just tough to get away with these chokes and have them work in your favor. Because even with this type of matchup, later in the game, this could prove to be trouble because Marines and Marauders and tanks can shoot your stuff from down here. That also can happen in the back here. Anyway, but I've just gotten to the point where it is just more hassle than it is worth to try and put my first pylon down at the front. But either way, Bubbles going to be gas blocking xSixiLLuZ here, and now this is something that can really screw up your build, especially on a map like this again. That you're trying to go for a macro style game. Generally, a Protoss player will get his gas sooner. Now he will not be able to. Bubbles is probably going to. Now he did let this finish about 80% of the way, and then he's going to try and save this SCV out of here. Mystik taking a quick hatchery, as did Zerker, and always a smart opener on this map is to go ahead and get that fast hatch. And if you don't have a Zerg player, just go for a fast expo as your Protoss or Terran. It is still going to be worth it in the long haul. That is my experience. Now this first zealot going to be used to clean up this geyser. And so on a normal rush map, this would not be that big a deal. As you see the Twilight Council coming down for xSixiLLuZ. Now this, with a Twilight Council tech up here already, that extra gas being down or unavailable is going to make a big difference. We'll see just how much of a difference, as Bubbles is actually going for a tech lab here on his reactor, and it looks like we are going to see some fast tanks, coming out of Bubbles. And will he be going for that siege tech right away? I'm not so sure. He may not need it right away. He is going to be putting an extra bunker down here at the front. As many of you know, a standard 4-gate, you do not need the second gas. So that is something on a standard rush map, say like a Kaidaran Depths or Scortaven. If someone tries, there's not really a point to try and steal the gas, because then you can just go for your standard 4-gate anyway. Though I will say that I've been having some trouble using the standard 4-gate at the higher levels, because I just find that I need sentries. I need the sentries, and I just don't have the gas. And then if the 4-gate doesn't work out, which it often doesn't, against a well-prepared team, you're just so far behind if you cut that many probes and you don't have enough gas. So either way, it looks like we are lining up for quite a macro game. I've heard a lot of players complain that this map is pretty imbalanced. And now with these spawning locations, I think it is pretty fair. I think that this map, this should be a forced spawn in these cross locations, because when you have near spawn locations, then the team that is in the bottom really has an advantage to be able to control more of the map. So that is something that comes with the territory when you have these 3 team maps, or let's say a 6-player map. Sort of comes with the territory. As you see xSixiLLuZ preemptively taking out these rocks here at the gold. It looks like that is where he's going to want to make his next expansion. It can be pretty difficult to defend that, especially against Zergling run-bys and whatnot. So we will definitely need to put down a bunch of cannons there. And it looks like, oh, we are going to be seeing a Warp Prism. Could we be seeing an Immortal Warp Prism drop here from xSixiLLuZ? Very interesting. I have seen this done a couple of times in some of the 1v1 games lately. I was watching the MLG this past weekend. I'm sure a lot of you guys were watching that, as he's actually going to be taking this base down here. And so exciting. Definitely happy for Huck taking that, taking the finals in that MLG tournament. I am such a Brotos homer. It is absolutely ridiculous. And I really like to see how this Warp Prism play turns out for xSixiLLuZ. He is researching that Warp Prism speed again. And with the extra shields of the Warp Prism, and once you get the speed, these things really can move. These things really motor. As look at the speed on this thing now that it has completed. Just soaring across the map, you will be able to just totally play a Terran style harass, and it's even faster than a medevac. So I hear some rocks being pecked away at. It looks like we are again picking off some rocks from the high ground here. And where did that Warp Prism go? It is already in the back of Bubbles' base, and here goes the Marauder drop. And are we going to switch into Warp In mode and add some zealots into this? It will be interesting to see. And now xSixiLLuZ, is he going to pick his Immortals up as soon as the shield's gone? That is exactly what he's going to do. Pick them up, and he's got to be really careful. Fungal Growth could go down on the Warp Prism, and I think he was a little bit worried about that. As he lifted that up right away, a Viking is now out from Bubbles, so this Warp Prism is going to be, it looks like, going to retreat back home. But still a good harass. At the same time, xSixiLLuZ will be throwing down a proxy pylon at this location. A little bit sneaky there. We'll probably get seen. If there are any run-bys up to this area, we'll get seen. We do see a Spire now on the way for Mystik as well. And spreading out those Zerglings down here. If we check the income tab, we can see that actually it looks like pretty even there. For a second, it looks like the team on the right was pretty far ahead, but I guess not. That probably was just due to some mules that are now dead. But Bubbles will be lifting off and landing down here. He's not going to be able to transfer SCVs very easily. That is a problem with taking this base over here. He's actually not even landing it just yet, because there is the threat of the Zergling run by from Mystik, and I believe he did see the command center floating there. Going to intercept a few Zerglings here. Actually, a couple will get by and are going to be scouting down to this area. Will those find out about this base down here from Mystik? I'm not so sure. But these Zerglings really denying this base very well. There is a tank still on the high ground though from Bubbles that will annihilate those Zerglings. And it looks like Zerker has teched straight up to Brewlords. He has a couple of infestors in here, and it looks like they are going to move out and try and make something happen. What do we have to defend? There are a bunch of drones transferring down here for Mystik. He is going to be sending those to the gold here. Nice timing on that, and he's going to be trying to send a few of them all the way around this corner, it looks like, to that bottom location. And now Mystik, he does not have very much of an army here, except for a few infestors. This could get pretty ugly with the siege tanks and Brewlords on the way. It's going to get very interesting very quickly here. This looks like one focal growth actually only hitting an infestor there. And here comes a couple of Colossi for xSixiLLuZ. And Mystik with a bunch of Corruptors just coming out at the last minute are going to be huge against these Brewlords, but there are a lot of Vikings on the field. The Corruptors are going to be forced to fall back. Some pretty intense positioning right now. Both teams jockeying, trying to get that best position they possibly can, and the air-to-air battle going on. It looks like the Vikings are going to take this one, and now the Brewlords will be able to push forward unharassed into this Protoss army. Zerglings streaming out from Mystik. I think that Team xSix really may have overextended themselves economically, and now they're in a lot of trouble. The Vikings are going to take out the final Colossus. There's only a few Stalkers left in here. Marines getting fungal growth though from Mystik, and those Marines, however, will not die. And oh man, these Broodlords are just proving to be too much to deal with. Team xSix is in so much trouble right now. There has been one counterattack, by the way. It looks like this base did get taken out, but that is about it. It does not look like... Oh, there are still some Zerglings in here. Or no, that was a Zealot. It looks like the Warp Prism down here still doing some counter action. And could we have a base race? If we do, Team xSix is the team that is in a lot of trouble, because this is a much larger army, and Broodlord is much more scary than the single Immortal here that looks like still killing SCVs over here. And Mystik still streaming some Zerglings in, but there are a bunch of spine crawlers that have been thrown down for Zerker, so his base is going to be very difficult to break. Some Zerglings even coming back from Zerker to take care of that. And oh man, I've seen this happen. This is what happened the last time that I cast a game where one Zerker was the Zerg player going against A-Side Super Ninja, and he overextended himself, in my opinion, by taking too many bases and then just got steamrolled. And this seems to be what has happened here. The timing is just not as good for Mystik, spending too much money and time trying to get these extra bases that he really didn't end up getting to use. So that is a mistake I've seen a lot of players make on this map, is overextending their economy. Gotta be careful. GGs go down, and now Team Gosu is up 2-0 in this series. So Team xSix is definitely going to have to regroup. It looks like they will get to pick the next map, and I am going to go ahead and get on to game number 3. That's going to do it for me. This is IrieStarcraft, and peace out.